The journey begins with a simple but important question. How well is your organization actually governing AI today? Most organizations are already using AI in some form. Some are buying AI solutions from vendors, others are building their own models, applications and agents, and many are doing both. But as AI adoption grows, organizations need to understand whether the right governance, security, accountability and regulatory controls are actually in place. This is where Aegis begins, by understanding the organization. We start with the organization profile, its size, industry, and the broader environment in which artificial intelligence is being deployed. Next, we establish the organization's AI posture. Are you primarily buying AI solutions? Are you building your own, or are you doing both? We also identify the countries and regions in which the organization operates. And this matters, because AI governance is no longer just an internal policy discussion. Different jurisdictions have different regulations, expectations, and levels of risk. Aegis therefore establishes the regulatory context surrounding the organization before beginning the assessment. Next, we understand what is driving the assessment. Perhaps the board is asking questions about AI risk. Perhaps regulators are asking for evidence. Customers may be demanding stronger governance. There may have been an AI incident or a near miss, or the organization may simply be preparing for standards such as ISO 42001. With the context established, Aegis begins evaluating AI governance maturity. We start with accountability and leadership. Who actually owns AI governance? Who approves the use of AI? And when an AI system influences an important decision, who is accountable? We then assess AI policy and acceptable use. Are AI policies formally documented? Do employees understand what they can and cannot do with AI? And more importantly, are those policies actually being followed? From there, Aegis looks at the organization's AI inventory. Does the organization actually know what AI systems, models, applications and agents are operating across the enterprise? Can those systems be classified according to their level of risk? And does the organization understand what data they use, what decisions they influence, and who is responsible for them? The assessment then moves into risk and impact. Before an AI system is deployed, are its risks understood? Could it create privacy issues, security vulnerabilities, bias, incorrect or unsafe decisions, regulatory exposure, or significant impact on customers and the business? Aegis then examines data governance, privacy, and secure AI development. Is sensitive information properly protected? Are access privileges controlled? Are AI systems tested before they enter production? And are the appropriate safeguards present throughout the AI lifecycle? Aegis then moves into an increasingly important area, third-party and vendor AI. Because organizations do not only build AI themselves, they are also buying AI platforms, embedding vendor models, using SaaS products with AI features, and consuming external AI services. And using a vendor does not transfer the risk away from the organization. Vendor AI still needs to go through a PRA. Aegis therefore checks whether appropriate due diligence has been performed before a vendor AI system is approved. It looks at whether contracts clearly address AI-specific requirements such as data usage, incident notification, and audit rights. It asks whether the organization actually knows which vendor products contain AI capabilities and what organizational or customer data those capabilities can access. It also evaluates whether the vendor's security, privacy, and compliance posture has been reviewed. And importantly, this cannot be a one-time exercise. AI products change continuously. A vendor may introduce a new model, add a generative AI capability, change how data is processed, or significantly modify an existing AI feature. Aegis therefore checks whether there is a defined process to trigger a new PRA and reassess the vendor whenever there is a material change. So whether the AI is built internally or purchased externally, the principle remains the same. Know what the AI is doing, know what data it is touching, understand the risk, perform the appropriate PRA, and maintain governance throughout its lifecycle. Next comes transparency and human oversight. When AI influences an important decision, can that decision be understood? Can a human review it, challenge it, and, when necessary, override it? But governance cannot stop when an AI system enters production. Aegis therefore evaluates monitoring and incident response. Can the organization identify abnormal AI behavior? Can it detect failures or unexpected outcomes? And if something goes wrong, is there a structured process to investigate and respond? Finally, Aegis evaluates AI literacy and regulatory readiness across the organization. Because effective AI governance is not only about technology, people need to understand how to use AI responsibly, what risks to look for, and when an issue needs to be escalated. Once the assessment is complete, Aegis converts all of these responses into a measurable AI governance position. In this example, the organization is assessed at level 3, defined, with an overall maturity score of 43 out of 190% answer confidence. But the purpose of Aegis is not simply to generate a score. The platform shows performance across each individual governance domain. It immediately makes visible where the organization is strong, where weaknesses exist, and where attention is required. Aegis then brings these findings together into a complete governance report. Leadership can understand the current maturity position, the major gaps, the regulatory context, and the areas requiring action. And this is where the assessment becomes actionable. Aegis begins prioritizing what the organization should do next. Actions can be organized according to value and effort. Some become immediate quick wins, others become larger strategic initiatives, and together, these activities create a structured remediation roadmap. The organization can now move from simply understanding its current state to defining its desired future state. For example, moving from level 3, defined, toward level 4, managed. Aegis helps translate that target into a practical operating model. It identifies which capabilities, controls, processes, and governance mechanisms need to improve to reach the desired maturity level. The output can then be converted into an executive-ready report. This creates a consistent record that can be shared with leadership, boards, customers, auditors, or governance teams. For senior management, Aegis can also provide a focused board-level view. Instead of presenting hundreds of individual assessment responses, the complexity is reduced into what executives actually need to understand. Where are we? What are the major risks? What requires attention? And what decisions need to be made? Aegis also extends beyond an individual organization. For consultants, there is a dedicated workspace for managing client engagements. A consultant can create an engagement for a customer, customize and brand the assessment, and apply the same structured governance methodology across multiple organizations. The methodology itself remains transparent. Governance domains can be mapped against established frameworks and regulatory requirements. Regulatory information can be maintained and versioned as requirements evolve. And importantly, regulatory changes remain human in the loop rather than simply being accepted automatically by an AI system. Consultants can also collect responses from multiple stakeholders within the same organization, and this can reveal something extremely valuable: perception gaps. Leadership may believe that a governance control is fully implemented, but technology, security, or operational teams may experience something very different. Aegis makes those differences visible, and governance does not end after the first assessment. Organizations can be reassessed over time, progress can be measured, maturity improvements can be demonstrated, and supporting evidence can be retained alongside the assessment, creating a stronger and more defensible governance record. Ultimately, Aegis answers 3 fundamental questions. Where are we today? Where are our biggest AI governance and regulatory risks? And what exactly should we do next? Aegis turns AI governance from a questionnaire into a measurable journey. From understanding the organization to assessment, from assessment to maturity scoring, from maturity scoring to gap identification, from those gaps to a target operating model, and from that target operating model to a practical roadmap for improvement. Because adopting AI is only the beginning. Organizations also need to know that the AI they deploy can be governed, secured, monitored, and trusted. Aegis, know where you stand, understand what matters, and know exactly what to do next. But governance cannot stop at assessment. Those controls must work when AI and autonomous agents are actually running. That is where Warden takes over. Warden brings governance into runtime, controlling every agent action, enforcing least privilege, evaluating intent, limiting authority, preserving evidence, and establishing trust. Aegis defines what must be governed. Warden makes sure it is governed. Together, they create a continuous path from assessment and PRA to policy, enforcement, monitoring, and proof.